Hello, beautiful beings. Welcome back to my channel. I love how red my hair looks. I think it's the sun. I be, I be laughing at myself. You need to get to a point where you're able to have fun by yourself and you laugh at your own jokes. Listen, you are the universe. Have fun with yourself. Crack yourself up. It's fun. It's gonna make you feel so much better. But anyway, I am going to talk about one of my personal manifestations. And as you can tell, I have manifested in basically every aspect of my life, not just specific person. And I think it's really good because we don't want to just focus on one thing, right? So this is my manifestation when it came to getting my last employment. I'm not there right now. I manifested not being there right now, which is another whole story, but let's get to it. Okay, so a little background. I always like to start, with some background information so you get the idea. I worked in retail for about 10 years. I was a coach. It's a trend. I was a coach and a mentor, and went from a sales advisor all the way to department manager at a really big store, a really big retailer. I was there for a very long time. And then I got severely burnt out. Now that I'm able to look back, I'm able to see that a lot of the things that I did there and at my other retailer employers were because I was trying to constantly prove my self-worth to my employers. I would overwork myself. I would do so much more than what was asked of me because I wanted them to see my value. I wanted them to believe in me, and I wanted them to see that I was good enough to be there. Because I didn't know that I had to cultivate that within for it to be reflected. So a lot of times we're very hard and we're very frustrating because, for a long time I would keep on getting passed on promotions and stuff like that. And even when I would get them, not the way that I was expecting I was going to get them. I had to work really, really, really hard at accomplishing what I wanted to do. I feel like I was able to do it. If I would have known about the law, it probably would have been so much easier, but it was part of my journey. So I got severely burnt out and I left, and I didn't want to go back to retail. Excuse me. I didn't want to go back to retail. I was tired. And I wanted a sit down job. And I know that you watchers, if you have worked in retail, you're probably going to say the same thing, that when you work in retail for a very long time, you don't want to do it anymore. You want a sitting down job. So I wanted a sitting down job. I wanted to have more time. When I was in retail, I didn't have time for family. Retail was my life. I missed out on so much, but I did have a lot of good times. So I would say that. So it took me about a year to be able to make the jump from working in retail to working in an office space. So I got a job in nonprofit, and that was very different. I've never done that before. And I was there for about 4 years. And I was on a contract base, and the contract didn't get renewed, so I was laid off. And I was on unemployment. I got approved for unemployment. By the time that I got laid off, I was already into the law, so I had decided for the first time in my life that I was going to manifest a new employment opportunity. Some of the things that I wanted more money. I wanted to be somewhere where I felt that, once again, the same thing, where I felt that I was valued, where I felt that what I was bringing to the employer would be seen as a good thing, right? So that my work wouldn't be taken for granted so much. So, when I got laid off, I was a little bit scared because it's kind of like your livelihood is put in jeopardy. So I remember speaking to an old friend of mine from one of my Facebook groups, and she said to me, just keep saying to yourself that you're safe. I am safe, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. Say it to yourself over and over and over. And that was very important because one of the things that you feel when you don't have an income is that you don't feel, your livelihood doesn't feel safe. You don't feel safe. So I would just go around thinking, I am safe, I am safe, I am safe. I had been approved for 6 months of unemployment. And, I made it my mission to make sure that I was able to manifest a job. This was the first time that I was trying to do this. I was nervous. It's always been very nerve-wracking for me to go through the whole job hunting experience because of the same thing. The self-concept believes that I wasn't good enough to get the job, that I wasn't good enough to be making more money. So I did Ho'oponopono a few times. So one of the ways that I did it was I cleaned on all of my previous employments, and a lot of things would come up. So as you're doing Ho'oponopono, you're gonna notice that sometimes, even if you set an intention at the beginning, you're gonna start to get little snapshots of memories or feelings or stuff like that. Struggles, days where memories of days where you had some issues at work. So I did Ho'oponopono for that, to clean on all of my previous employments. I think I only did that once or twice. I remember back then I did, Agnes had like get a job meditation. I believe I did it a handful of times, not too many times. I found an affirmation, going through Agnes's videos that I was trying to do, and I realized that when I would be writing the affirmation down, it didn't make me feel good. I think it was an affirmation from Catherine Ponder, and when I would say it and write it down, I didn't feel good. It didn't work for me, which is why, which is good to know that there are some affirmations that might not resonate with you. That's why sometimes, you have to choose the ones that feel good to you. So I remember I changed that affirmation around, and my nightly routine would be that I would write down a few statements and I would read them. As I'm writing, I'm reading them. And then separate to the list of affirmations, I created a list of all of the things that I wanted in a job. And I remember putting that I wanted it to be walking distance from the train. I wanted it to be a full open concept office with a lot of natural lighting. Those were some of the things that I wanted, that I remember of. And I made this list of things that I wanted. And I remember one of the affirmations that I would write would be, I am so happy and grateful now that I got my perfect job. I'm so happy and grateful now that I got my perfect job. I am safe. I also picked up I am wanted, and I would do I am wanted a lot, because every time that I would apply to a job and I wouldn't hear back, or they would reject me, I would feel rejected. So I would say over and over and over, I am wanted, I am wanted, I am wanted, I am wanted, I am wanted. I went on a few interviews. They led to nothing. Sometimes I would cry out of frustration because I could think about all the mistakes that I would make, during this interview, because I would just be so kind of like so desperate to get this job. So, I spoke to my friend again, and she was like, don't keep track. Don't keep track of all of the jobs that are rejecting you. Just keep going. Keep going and focus on trying to feel good. Focus on doing something daily that makes you feel good. So I kept going, and I would spend every day, I would wake up and I would just sit on the couch and get my laptop and apply every day consistently. And the months kept on passing by. And, my person, he was like, what is going on? Like, you've been applying to like 10, 20 jobs a day and you're not getting anything yet. What's going on? I was like, I don't know. I just have to keep going and hope that I'm able to get something before my unemployment runs out. That was something that was getting me very nervous as well, because I had only gotten 6 months and I was like already at like 4 months or something. So I kept going and going and going. And I remember that I went on this job interview, and it was kind of far from my house, but because it was kind of like, at the 4-month mark, and I was so nervous, I was like, fuck it, I'll just take whatever I can get. And they accepted me, and I went to work the next day. And it didn't feel like it was the right fit. I went on lunch, and I called my person and I told him, I'm not feeling this. No. And he said, okay, that is divine misdirection. That means that your job, it's nearing. Just keep going. So I sent them an email. I didn't go back, and I literally got 3 jobs to hire me at the same time. I went to this interview working at a publishing company, and that was really amazing because, I wrote a chapter in a book that sells on Amazon. One of the dreams that I have is of writing. And I was like, oh my God, look at this. But when I went to the office, it didn't include anything of what I had in my list. But once again, I was desperate to get a job before the unemployment ran out. So I said yes. But, I didn't have a start date yet because I had gotten sick like in the middle of that interim. So I had to kind of like tell them that I needed to take a few more days before I could start. So that was one job. They offered me the job. Then the other job was for a hospital, and that requires a video on itself, because I actually went to the job interview, and I don't even know how I got so apparently I got the email for the job interview by mistake. But because that would have been my 3rd interview with them, the lady ended up still giving me the interview, even though I wasn't even supposed to be there to begin with. And after that interview, they offered me the job. So that's job number 2. And that did have some of the things on my list. Then job number 3, which was the one that I ended up getting, and I can't really speak about it much. I had the interview on the phone. It was really, really, really great. I was called for a 2nd interview in person. That had to be actually pushed back because of the problem that I had. I got a little bit sick. And when I ended up making it there, as soon as I walked into the office and I looked around, I was like, oh, this is it. It had everything I had wanted in a job. It completed my list from head to toe. And I got the job. So I got those 3 jobs. And the last job offered me more money than the other 2, which was something else also that I had to work on with Ho'oponopono, because there are people that are able to jump from making $20,000 to $100,000 if their belief system supports it. Right? They're able to stretch their belief system to that amount of money. Bob Proctor was a person that he was relatively poor. And when he learned about the law, he went from making pennies to making $1 million in a year, because he was able to stretch his mind enough to accommodate the fact that he felt worthy enough of making that amount of money. But for most of us, we have to go in increments. So I did Ho'oponopono, and to kind of take me to the level of money that I got offered. And when they offered me that job, I told the other two no. And it was amazing. I was there for 3 years. A lot of limiting beliefs came up, which is one of the reasons why I'm not there anymore. But it was an amazing manifestation. And I will say that I got that job right when my unemployment was running out. I literally started my job, and the first week of employment that you don't get paid, because you get paid on the following week, that first week of employment, I got my last unemployment check. That's how precise this manifestation worked. Why did it take 6 months? Maybe because, you don't know. You have to work on this, and it just depends how long it takes your subconscious mind to accept these new beliefs. For some people, it's faster than others. I literally was covered with unemployment until I got my first paycheck. I did not even miss a beat. It's amazing. Like it was crazy how to the point it was. And if I can do it with as many limiting beliefs that I had about college degrees and all of this, because let me tell you, going through the job, trying to find a job thing in the US is annoying as hell. Because they be asking for so many things and they're not offering money to match what they're asking for. It's one of my pet peeves. We're not even gonna go there. But if I can do it, you can do it. Nobody to change, no one to change but self. And you got this. Leave me any comments below, any videos you might want to see from me. I'm going to add this video to my personal manifestations playlist. I'm going to see if I link it at the end of this video. As a reminder, I do offer coaching. I love to specify that I work with people that have trauma, because that's just my personal background. I came from a lot of childhood trauma that I've had to overcome throughout the years, and I think it's just my personal dharma to be able to help other people go through the same thing. It doesn't mean if you don't have trauma, you can still come to me. It just means that I'm able to kind of take a different look at what you're going through and be able to kind of give you better information and just be there for you, which is a very important aspect of healing. Just understanding that there is a person that understands what you're going through. I think it's very important for that. I will see you in the next video. I can't even talk. I will see you in the next video, and until next time, bye.